Hey, what is up, guys? So I saw the special IMAX Ant-Man preview, which was 6 minutes long, and it played before all prints of Jurassic World in IMAX last night. Now, basically what happened was that this was a presentation of 6 minutes of Ant-Man. I believe it was a 3-minute scene, and then there was about 3 minutes worth of like a sizzle reel kind of extended trailer with different cuts of footage put together. So it was almost like you got a standalone scene and then you got a glorified extended trailer. So I'm gonna first talk about what happened in the footage, and then my thoughts on it, and then my thoughts on how it looked in the IMAX 3D format. So basically in the footage we got a scene of Paul Rudd as Scott Lang in prison, and he's surrounded by a bunch of inmates. I think we've seen this in both of the trailers actually, very briefly though. So this version we actually get to see that scene and what happens, and essentially what happens is Paul Rudd gets punched by this really big guy, and he kind of tries to punch him back and nothing works, and then he tricks the guy and makes him look away, and then he punches him straight across the jaw, and the guy actually kind of reacts to it. And it turns out that the inmates aren't actually trying to like kill Paul or anything, or I keep calling him Paul Rudd, but they're not trying to kill Scott Lang. But what it is actually an inside joke kind of goodbye ritual that they have, because this is his last day in prison. And so yeah, that happens. Scott Lang leaves prison and is picked up by his friend Lewis, who is played by Michael Pena, and he gets picked up in the van that we've also seen in various trailers and stuff like that. And they kind of drive down, and they talk about what's life been like, where Scott's gonna go from here, all that kind of stuff. And Scott says, I've got a master's in physics or something like that, some kind of science degree, and he's like, I'm fine, I'll have no problem getting a job. And then it cuts to a scene of him and Baskin Robbins working there. That was kind of funny actually, and there were a lot of great scenes actually, a lot of good jokes between Lewis and Scott's characters, and I actually like that. So I think one thing that this footage made it clear is that Lewis will have a bigger role in the movie than we thought before. And then it cuts to the extended trailer, which is basically showing us new extended dialogue between Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man himself, more scenes of them fighting, more of the shrinking stuff, which looked pretty cool. And overall from the trailer, I think I'm getting a vibe that this is going to be a super comedic movie. There was no shortage of jokes and humor in the footage that we saw. The music was also very like lighthearted-y, kind of TV-esque comedy type of music playing in the background. So that's probably indicating that this movie is going to be very humor-filled, more so than Guardians of the Galaxy was, just judging off this 6-minute preview that I saw. How it looked in the format, I have to say the IMAX 3D format looked pretty well. I think the print looked okay. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot that was like 3D popping out at you. There was slight depth of field to the footage, but I didn't really see much of a need for seeing it in 3D, to be honest. It looked cool, very good on the IMAX screen, because IMAX is a bigger premium format where the actual screen is much larger. I believe it's 2 to 3 times the size of a normal theater screen projector. So I love seeing movies in IMAX, and I'll probably end up seeing this one in IMAX again. Not for the 3D, more so just for the larger format that it's going to be playing in. But yeah, overall I thought the footage was alright. I love some of the jokes between Lewis and Scott's characters, but it just kind of, the movie is super humorous, so that's going to be kind of a negative for me, just because I'm not super big into the whole like jokey type of comic book movies. But I'll go see Ant-Man, and the footage definitely got me excited for seeing it in IMAX. So if you did see the footage, post your comments down below, post your thoughts on what you thought of the footage. And if you didn't see it, tell me down below if you were excited for the footage by what I described of it. And be sure to check back on the hypernerdyt.com website for more news and reviews, and I'll see you guys next time.